You're listening to Tabletop Arcanum, a podcast dedicated to learning and exploring the hobby of tabletop gaming. Your hosts are Justin Taylor and Richard Geese, so sit back and relax as we talk, discuss, and joke our way through the hobby we love so much.
Welcome to Tabletop Arcanum. We're your hosts,
Justin
and Ricky, and we're lucky enough to have Doug back on the show. Welcome back, Doug.
I guess you're stuck with me for the weekend.
Yeah, you're going to have to put up with us. I mean,
officially it's almost 3 a.m. and
yeah, you should all feel real bad for Doug because he's being forced to stay up and talk to us about everything.
At least for a brief moment. So GenCon Day 1 officials over. Yeah, well, we're done with it at least. There's still people up playing games, but we've been going since 2 hours before the convention hall opened, and yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah, we got up at 6 this morning.
Yeah. It went, you know what? I'm okay with it. This is the sleep deprivation moment that I'm going to have. We crammed a lot into Day 1. Saw a lot, did a lot, and we're pretty tired. I'm a little worried about my feet and my legs tomorrow morning when I wake up and they won't work anymore. But
that sounds like a problem for future Justin.
Absolutely. In about 4 hours, I'll figure that one out.
Yeah.
So, let me think. I had a 11 a.m. event. So we had the hall opens at 10. We saw the opening presentation. We were actually very close to it, so we not only saw it, but we really heard it.
Yeah, we were right up front.
Which is a lot of fun. And GenCon always kind of comes in with a big bang, and then doors open, and it is a let's go see what we can find, grab, buy, play, demo.
Mm-hmm. We were lucky enough to get into Fantasy Flight's.
That's my personal thing. I wanted to get, especially after the in-flight report yesterday.
And then the announcement of Final Hour. Yeah, we both got a copy.
I wanted to get my hands on that. So
you picked up a few other things there.
Not just the Final Hour and the Arkham 3rd Edition board game expansion, which is was like a pre-release.
Okay, so other thing. You didn't get a few other... Just
two.
Other things.
I literally only got the 2 things.
Yeah,
because that's all.
I got the one. You got the 2.
Yeah, I'm not looking to Yeah, it just Carcos is going to be around soon. I have that pre-ordered at my local shop, so I'm just going to pick it up there.
Mm-hmm.
After that, got our 10th anniversary plaid hats.
Plaid hat. We were the plaid hat crew all day.
Picked up. I did not get Unmatched, but I did get the Bruce Lee because they had a little bit more of that than the actual base game. That was fun. And then I had to get to my Pandemic Survival Tournament, which was really interesting. And like we talked about, I've been practicing for this, and it was fun. Yeah. Man, that was just a blast. We were 7th from the last, so... We did pretty good. Like half the teams were gone before we dropped, but it was just a nightmare fuel pandemic of I wasn't sure what we were going to lose by because we were starting to run out of cubes in 2 different diseases. And pretty much it was just one outbreak anywhere was enough to just put the nail in the coffin. Mm-hmm. We had another pair of friends that were playing in the match with us. They lasted 4 more turns, but they were almost literally the next team out. They just happened to last a couple more rounds than we did. So that was fun.
Well, you did that. I rated the exhibit hall significantly more. I picked up Horrified. I also picked up Custom Heroes by AEG Games. Mm-hmm. And just walked around, picked up a few other small things here and there. Just had the first day to draw everything in. I know, Doug, you went out. What did you do during the day?
Yeah. We were all being money leveraging from our wallets. You didn't do that at first, did you?
Not at first, no. I definitely did my own thing. So I had signed up for a couple seminars on DMing, as I'm kind of dipping my toes in the waters of being a DM. Yeah. So couple today, a handful more tomorrow, just to kind of help get me acquainted with the concept of being a DM and get some tips and tricks.
Right.
Did you feel you got a lot out of the seminars that you went to?
I did, both about DMing and a little bit about GenCon. So I like the first one I went to was 10 a.m. So I had to miss the vendor hall opening because it was in a hotel across the street. But one of the things that they pointed out, and I'll say that this was a 80-person event that was probably about 3/4 full.
Okay.
And
so definitely space if you want
definitely
to drop
space.
in.
And the great thing about these events, these seminars are pretty much free. So you don't need generic tickets. You don't need to sign up in advance. Pretty much if there's one that you want to go to and it's sold out, just go show up. There's a good chance you'll have open spaces to join in. They'll just let you in.
We actually had one that just based on timing we had to skip because we didn't get back in time for it. So,
well, you actually
it
double booked it for some
me.
reason. So.
Yeah, I had a seminar and the pandemic at 11 for some reason, and I didn't catch it until it was too late. I'm like, well, I guess I don't go to the seminar. Luckily, like you said, it doesn't cost you anything, but my quote unquote sold seat would be free for someone to walk up and just grab.
Exactly. And I missed one myself today too. It was a bit of a combination of losing track of time and when I realized it was past the start time, it was all the way across the convention hall. It was a 2-hour seminar and I was still just making my way through the vendor hall.
Yeah.
I just kind of decided to skip that one and go to the next one.
Okay.
So
after that, like I had a couple pre-orders I had to pick up after pandemic, so
you went on your own, and
I had to kind of forge on my own. I picked up the Fate Forge books that I had backed, plus I had put a pre-order in for some broken tokens because they offer pickup at GenCon. So if you had your order in like by the 1st of July, I think was the cutoff, you could literally not pay shipping. You just have to get it back yourself. And since we are just close enough to drive,
it's worth it to pick it up.
It makes sense.
And you listened to me over the past year when I told you I would never carry them again. I was expecting to carry them, which I'm fine with. But my fingers thank you. It probably helps that
I can get more. We can make it happen.
Yeah, but we're right across from the...
Yeah, we are actually connected opposed to having Airbnb like we did last year, where we had to figure out
7 miles away
how to get it to the room.
Yeah, this is much nicer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, I'm not going to lie. The Airbnb last year that, because Doug, you were with us on that one.
Yep.
It was really nice because it was almost like if you go to like Las Vegas and you stay off the strip.
Oh, don't get me wrong. The house was definitely nice. It was roomy. We had plenty of bedrooms,
Gigantic.
Yeah.
Full of armadillos.
And stray kittens.
Well, they were outside at least.
Yeah.
They weren't a package deal. They weren't supposed to be there. But we appreciate it.
Even though we may have tried to take them home with us.
Yeah.
But just logistically, being here on site on the walkway, air conditioned while it's hot out during the day.
Yeah, it really helps because it's like, oh, I got these things. Let me just run back to the room, drop them off. So
I stopped and got there's a Paizo booth up by one of the hotel entrances outside the vendor hall. So after my seminar, I got out at 11. I went up there and stood in line. They open at 10, the same time as the vendor hall, and people already I stopped by it around 9:30 just to see, and there was already a line forming. So
right.
I swung around, got in line afterwards, picked up a couple books. Actually picked up 3 books, one for me and a couple for a friend. And those things are heavy. So the core rule book is 640 pages, I think.
Yep.
So 2 of those and another few hundred-page bestiary.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to lug that around all day. So it was a quick trip over to the hotel, just drop off a bunch of dead weight.
Those are beautiful books, though.
Yep. They are. The deluxe edition, the faux leather with the gold inlay.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, last year, I think we didn't go back to the Airbnb the entire time during the day, but like today only, I've probably been up here a good 6 or 7 times just to drop stuff off.
Yeah, it was like 3 times for me.
Yeah.
And I definitely had to cool off after like lugging probably 50 to 60 pounds worth of books.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I had one time just to come up here and get off my feet for a few minutes.
Yep.
Charge my phone up.
yeah,
And get away from the crowd, yeah.
There's a lot of perks to
We
it.
did have a friend last year who had another hotel on the walkway. So with those, like, I have a bag full of games I don't want to carry around with me. Okay, we can drop them off.
If you're
temporarily,
not
but-
lucky enough to get a connected room yourself and you know someone who does, definitely, talk with them and say, hey, if I pick up XYZ things, can I, like, stash them in your room for at least, till the end of the day?
We have a few friends doing that with us.
Yeah.
We have a buddy who's going to be doing X-Wing, but wants to do something before and after, but doesn't want to go to his hotel room. That's, I want to say it's like 15 miles out, something like
It's
that.
like a 20-minute drive, yeah.
It's a half an hour drive. It's a
It's
a nice long drive. So we told him, just come meet up with us in the morning, drop it off. You can come pick it up when you need it.
Mm-hmm.
Bring it back in, drop it off, go
Make it
out
work.
and do the rest of the day.
So we did some of the shopping, things like that, and definitely we had a 4:00 event, which was the Lord of the Rings LCG. Had some fun with that. That was the Mines of Moria scenario set.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing the same thing they did last year with the Wizard's Quest and Woodland Realm. Wizard's Quest was the GenCon, and then the Woodland Realm was the Fellowship event.
Mm-hmm.
But they're partnered scenario packs, where this one will have the counter sets 1 through 14, and then Escape from Khazad-dûm, which will come out later, will have numbers 15 through 24, and then you literally build your encounter deck out of 7 of those different sets. So if you have both packs, now you have like you have a lot more choices. Really, is what it comes down to build your custom scenarios. So it was fun. I definitely had a lot of reminiscing from last year with it.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, I think I could get better with deck building, but yeah.
I borrow your deck, so I mean,
Yeah, we're building 3 decks out of 1 card pool. That third deck gets pretty.
So my problem with the game is that you need to be a better deck builder, but that's neither here nor there.
And then let's see, what was the other thing? So we kind of ran through that pretty quickly because that doesn't really have a timer on it. That was just do the scenario.
Did you get a chance to see that Marvel miniatures game that
I got to
mentioned this?
see the figures. I didn't get a demo yet.
I'm doing the demo sometime tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay, I swung by the booth earlier and just to see one full setup, like obviously it's more than what you get in the base game that they were talking about,
Right.
but a full board setup, it looked pretty cool.
Yes.
Yeah. Our friend Tim got to play it, and he probably talked our ear off for a good 45 minutes about how great it was.
Right.
So I am pretty excited about sitting down and playing it a little bit.
Yeah, we picked up some, we kind of cruised the call, looked at promos, looked at a few other things, and then went and found dinner, because that was important. Eating, and, eating.
Then we found a Doug.
Then we found Doug, and...
They did talk about the 3-2-1 rule this morning at the first seminar I went to.
3, 2, 1?
You want to hear this one?
No.
Minimum 3 hours of sleep,
Okay.
2 meals, like actual meals, not gummy bears, and 1 shower every day.
I can appreciate that rule.
Yeah. I almost did double shower today because after bringing all those books back, I was like dripping.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
And then you guys keep this room as an ice cube, and so it's like a walk-in freezer, and
so
it was
great.
really good after hauling all that stuff to cool off with.
Yeah, again, that's minimum. So nothing wrong with taking multiple showers in a day if
If
it's
that's
getting
what
to
you
you.
need.
Yeah.
It is 80 degrees out there, so during the day, if you stand out in the sun for more than a minute, you are drenched.
I try to avoid outside during the day as much as possible.
But that black party's a lot of fun. They've got a lot of
Yes.
food trucks and beer out there, and I tried something called the Tater Quest, which was pizza filled with hash browns.
Oh my god!
Yeah. Red onions.
Did you find the Stranger
Bacon.
Things burger yet?
Oh, God help me when I do.
Yeah.
I need to figure out where that is. For all you who are not aware, They are selling a Stranger Thing burger at, I don't know if it's at a food truck or one of the restaurants nearby.
I don't know.
It's 2 waffles with a burger covered with, topped with peanut butter and jelly.
That sounds both amazing and disgusting.
It sounds so disgustingly amazing.
It sounds like something you just have to experience, and either you're going to love it or it's going to be one of the most foul things you ever put in your mouth. And at least you had that experience.
I think experience is the right word for that.
Yeah.
So you picked up the Pathfinder 2nd Edition books.
Yes.
And then we sat down and played Pathfinder 2nd Edition with pre-gen characters because, well, we're here. It's launching. Let's have someone who vaguely, has at least read some of the rules and figure that out a little bit.
Yeah, that was
fun.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I accidentally done goof during it, and instead of letting us do the final showdown, I just rolled really, 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 really well repeatedly, and our DM rolled really, 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 really bad repeatedly.
To be fair, you literally stealth past the final battle.
It's not a goof.
I stealth past the final boss, and he's like, "You remember that what you just did that took you guys an hour? This was worse."
Right. So we had fought a really nasty black pudding fight, and then this was supposed to be oh yeah, no, there's more oozes, and there's alchemists involved, and there's a new ooze every round spawning. I'm like, no, that sounds like the worst thing in the world to deal with. I'm so glad we just kind of sent the rogue ahead.
I don't know if you realize this or not, but he skipped stuff during our game because we were running late. He skipped certain parts of our game.
Yeah.
So he's like,
Yep.
Normally you would run into this right now, but we have to make sure to keep on time. We ended up leaving, 2 hours early?
Yeah.
Hour and a half.
Hour and a half.
Hour and a half? Yeah.
Because we skipped that last battle. But
Yeah, that was
you
probably
don't
gonna
know
be-
it. As a DM, you just don't know where the front end of the session was taking longer than anticipated, so things got cut, which is fine.
And exactly, we were behind schedule at that point.
And then all of a sudden we just, skip to the end.
Eventually, I just get to the point where I'm just like, okay, I rush in. I'm just going to do all this crazy nonsense for no reason.
Yeah.
And everyone wanted to stealth behind me all the way down. I'm like, just shh.
Yeah.
I'm a little disappointed I didn't get to cast Fireball again.
But you did once.
I did once.
Yeah.
I wanted to do it again.
I like the second edition changes. There's it would take some getting used to. I know, Doug, you were saying you really like the way they're doing crit successes and crit fails.
Yeah, so instead of an automatic, or instead of even a nat 20 being a crit or a potential crit and a nat 1 just being a fumble, it gives you a bonus or penalty to your roll, but the actual crit or fumble is based on exceeding or failing by 10 or more.
Right.
So it still is more dependent on your character and how it's built and your bonuses versus just a straight up die roll.
So the example of your AC or DC that you're trying to hit is 15. You will roll your die, add your bonuses. If you get 15, you succeed. If you get 25, you crit succeed. But if you get a 5 or less, you've crit failed.
And if you roll a nat 20, I think you said you get a plus. You add up your numbers.
You add up your numbers, and then you adjust it up a grade.
Exactly.
So even if nat 20, if it would have just been a normal success, it would automatically jump up to the crit success. And the nat 1's the same way. If your bonuses are so high that you would have probably just failed, it will automatically downgrade you.
Generally speaking, yeah.
Well, it's kind of like...
So it all depends where those numbers are going to sit and what the DC is. And he's
Yeah.
it doesn't always mean a crit and a failure, or a crit
So-
succeed and crit failure, but most of the time it will.
It's kind of like when I would try to attack the users, they had such a low AC that just my
You can just
my
murder 'em.
modifier, if I got 1, I think their AC was 14.
Yeah.
My modifier was 13, so if I got 1, I would hit.
You would
It would-
officially succeed, so it would downgrade it to a failure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a crit failure.
No, it's not a
Right,
fumble.
Exactly.
That's a great example of how that system's working.
And it also takes out the effect of anybody has a 5% chance of doing something that's generally impossible.
Yep.
Yeah. It also, I don't know about
I
you
like
guys.
the reactions.
I don't know about
Yeah.
you guys, but I played Pathfinder maybe like 2-3 years ago. I haven't played played it since.
Mm-hmm.
It made me feel very important every time I rolled, because as long as you're playing to your strength, you're always rolling something above like a 16, and whether or not it actually works.
Right.
In D&D,
Numbers are bigger.
In D&D, it's not like, I rolled. You can roll a 3 plus your modifier of 3, and you're at 6. Whereas this game's like, well, I know I'm really good at this. Okay, I rolled a 3. Oh, I got a 16. That sounds great.
You saying you felt that with
It just
PF2?
made me feel special.
PF2, this one we did today.
Yeah.
Compared to Pathfinder 1, the numbers are actually lower in some aspects. Some of them are higher. But compared to like D&D 5e, it is definitely the games are on different scale levels.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be interested to see how this scales with the higher characters. One of the complaints that I've heard, and I can kind of see how this would play out, is with the skills being based mostly on your ability score and your proficiency, with only I think 4 tiers of expertise associated. So as you level up, you can apply expertise as trained, master, expert, or legendary, I think is the terms.
Yep.
But that really only gives you a +1 to +4 bonus to that roll.
The one thing that you are also not necessarily seeing in there is I was flipping through the book and looking at there's different things you can do with a skill if you have those expertise levels.
Okay, I missed that then.
So, like, if you're untrained in a skill, you can make a check for some things, but you will not be able to make a check for other features of that skill. And then I wasn't seeing anything for, like, the legendary or higher stuff, but I think it's some... Like, I'd have to go through, like, the GMing section to figure out. Because he even mentioned when he was kind of running through the base bone rules of, like, unless you're trained or unless you're a master, you may not be, it might be a skill or an attempt that is just out of your knowledge scope.
Okay, so it sounds like there's more behind it than just the number bonus.
Right. So it's more of a, no, you have to be at least a master to be able even to check on the roll. And again, you don't get that automatic, like, I rolled a nat 20, what do I win?
Yeah.
Feature, which I've always been kind of against, and I understand 5% chance is a 5% chance, but rolling a 19, just as good. It is what it is.
Yeah. So I'd be curious just to see how that ends up scaling out over the levels, and with a character that the character that I played is probably not built the way I would have built it. I like to build something around a theme, and this was kind of some of the stuff was scattered. So
I think it was to design and showcase what.
I'm sure.
Tops of
I'm
things
sure it was. One thing I did like, so I played the wizard, and they had already had the spell list, obviously, but also which spells were prepared for the day, so I didn't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
But I did have some cantrips that were actually useful in combat. Outside of my more powerful spells, and the arcane focus feature that I had, I think it was the wizard's staff that would allow me once per day per spell level to recast an already casted prepared spell.
Oh, neat.
So it kind of gives you that second chance to cast some of those high level spells that you didn't have another spell slot for. It doesn't even expend another spell slot.
Ooh.
It just lets you recast one of your previously casted spells. So that was a cool feature.
Well, it's like
That's
I played
nice.
the fighter with the literally like sword and board, like sword and shield. Like this is like atypical fighter. I don't know how many times I was like doing stuff with the shield, and like that was very involved. Like spending a reaction or spending an action to like make sure I pull up my shield and get the extra AC bump, or like I haven't played I haven't played Pathfinder 1.0 in several years, but like I don't recall ever like shields being a feature that wasn't like, oh, I have a shield equip, it does stuff. Maybe I get a feat that allows me to throw it or do something fancy with it, but this had a lot more dealing to it, and I thought that was cool.
The other thing I noticed was I didn't, as a caster, I ended up kind of going toe-to-toe with one of the enemies for a while.
You didn't drop like a sack of potatoes like I feared you would.
That was mostly luck with bad rolls on the attacks, but I didn't have to worry too much about casting adjacent with an attack of opportunity or some sort of reaction, because those are more limited in this game.
Right, the reactions are very much limited. Like, did you have a counterspell option on your sheet somewhere?
I didn't have anything at this level 5, no.
Okay, because I know that's something that they, like, wizards and casters get, like, their reaction is a counterspell. So, like, they'll be able to counterspell something that is going on. Whereas I was a fighter, I had the attack of opportunity option. Like, if something moved away from me, I get a chance to maybe swing at it.
And that's the one thing the DM mentioned was generally in this game, only more like trained fighters would have
your
something.
martial characters are going to be the ones doing it.
And these were constructs that we were fighting.
Yeah.
So I also had a melee attack that wasn't entirely useless.
Yeah.
It wasn't great, it's not gonna stand up to what a fighter can do, but I was getting grappled and I was kind of running out of options, so I tried to bop him on the head with my staff, and I ended up missing the attack, but I could have done, a little bit of damage to...
Right.
Well, it's like all of my attacks, or all my weapons were piercing weapons, and...
That was not good against oozes.
Yeah, it's not good against oozes.
We learned that the fast and hard way.
It was nice knowing that, even though I don't, I'm not trained in unarmed fighting or anything like that, that you could just jump quick over to unarmed fighting and
not get
someone.
penalized.
Yeah, you
for
can
it.
actually. I mean, you don't get as much damage, but you can actually
make the
not
attempt.
get rocked real quick.
Right. And then ultimately, we also because we did pick up Final Hour. We did run through a game of it.
We did. We ran through a quick game. We did 3 rounds.
And then because of time, even though it only takes like an hour to play,
it took a little while for us
through
to
the rules.
Yeah, it took us a while to set it up, read the rules, all that fun jazz. We set that up. We played through two or three rounds. I could say already I like it. It seems
I'm intrigued.
It's very fast paced.
Yeah.
And I noticed that you can quickly get rid of all of the monsters and everything, and then just as quickly put them all right back on. So it's a never-ending back and forth until you get to the end of the game. So I would definitely suggest checking that out. We will probably end up doing a review on it at some point.
Expect sooner than later on that, just because.
Oh, definitely.
But 1 to 4 players, 30 to 60 minutes. And, 30 minutes is things have gone really wrong really fast, like a standard Arkham game. But there's a couple pieces, I want to talk a little bit more about it, but ultimately, I think it has a niche in the sense that this is the fast Arkham game that isn't bloated with a bunch of rules, and it's... I think setup is probably the most complicated part of the game.
Yeah.
Is just making sure you do the setup correctly and walk your steps through it. I know once I get familiar with the game, maybe third time through, I'll have a quick setup and it'll be fine. But the first 2 or 3, it's going to take a little okay, step 1, step 2, step 3, make sure I don't miss a beat.
Yeah.
But then once you're playing, the rounds are almost simultaneous. Everybody gets to do, every round 4 things happen. You bid kind of in a Gloomhaven sort of initiative order to figure out whose card goes off first, second, third, fourth. And then, okay, once you've bid, who's going first, flip that card, do the thing.
Yeah.
So it's very fast, and then the board kind of has its revenge turn on you, and then you reset and go again. And it is no more than 8 rounds, because that is it is literally stacked, with a round counter.
Yeah.
And if you run out, you got to stop the ritual. So, it gives you that back against the wall feeling of Arkham in 60 minutes or less, it seems like. And it's not a boast. It really does. So we'll dive more, play more, figure out what we really like, what we really don't like about it, and bring that in a review episode coming up soon.
But the main reason that we are still up right now at 3:30 in the morning is because we went and did an escape room about 2 blocks down the road.
That was good. I've done way too many escape rooms. No record holder, no like triple digits, but I'm definitely in the good, I think 2 dozen now. And I'm starting to like now branch out. Like, okay, I've exhausted a lot of them in our local area, so when I travel, I always try to like, hey, is there a room that seems really cool or interesting in this area? And then explore and do it. So GenCon, we're here for 5 tastes. Let's do a room at least.
Yeah, we did. What was the name on it again?
Escape the Room Indy.
Well, Escape the Room Indy, and then it was...
the IU Time Warp. It's the Indiana University Time Warp, which is kind of themed off of their bicentennial, which is next year. So they're running a very, very Indiana University themed room based on the loose plot was back in like 200 years ago. There was a big fire, which is a thing that happened. And then they spent a bunch of money, rebuilt the school, and now it's like 200 years later that they were going to celebrate. But the trick was
somewhere in the past, the money went missing to rebuild the school, so it's
we had to go in the
us
past
to find that money.
We had to go in the past, find the lost money, and then make sure we fixed things and went to the future to get the bicentennial reward.
We won't say too much about it other than we passed.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I've definitely done rooms that I would highly recommend, but I wouldn't say avoid this one either. They actually have a nice lobby. The staff was very friendly, which is almost the opposite of most rooms. I will say the staffs are usually the like weakest point in most rooms of like they're there, they know what you want to do, but they don't really, I don't know.
Yeah.
They also served drinks, including beer and wine, in the lobby.
And we can appreciate that.
And allowed us to bring our drinks into the room with us, so that was kind of a nice touch.
They did have a, this is a safe spot to put your drinks. You're not going to really do anything with this,
it's
table.
Not part of the game. Don't worry about it.
But if you want to set it and make sure, you're not going to knock it over, here's a spot for you. I've done a couple rooms that are like that. Like, bring all your stuff inside the room with you. That way you know where it is, and just put it in this cabinet. There's nothing, there's no part of the game in this cabinet. It's fine.
I've had one say that, and then it turns out that was a lie.
That's different.
And that was bogus. So
I haven't had that lie happen yet.
Yeah, I can tell you places that have done it to me. But I digress. No, this place was a ton of fun. They allowed us to do a mini BWRUN beer run because Doug and I have been looking. Yeah, we've been looking for somewhere around here to grab some beer, but
we were busy.
We were busy all day, so I mean, we did not have time at all to go and grab anything.
I don't think I walked outside except to go get lunch or dinner at a food truck.
I only walked outside to I don't want to walk in the convention hall, and I want to walk outside for a couple minutes while I get from point A to point B. So, tomorrow, day 2, more GenCon, more fun, more events.
And right now we just need more sleep, so sorry to call it early on all of our listeners, but we're going to call it early.
So, enjoy. Hit us up. I know, Ricky, you've been posting all over our Instagram.
Everything all over Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can look us up, Tabletop Arcanum.
At gmail.com.
At gmail.com and or at on Twitter.
Yep.
On Instagram. Tabletop Arcanum on Facebook. Come find us. Come check out our photos. See us have all this fun.
All right. And honestly, if there's something you see that you have a question on, hit us up.
Definitely. Thank you again, Doug, for being here, for being forced into this.
You're like our captive guest for like 3 more days. That's great.
I'm fine with it.
Cool. All right. Well, that's it for day 2. No, day 1.
Day 1.
Technically,
full day
2.
1.
Full day 1.
We're in day 2 right now.
We're already in day 2. I need to sleep. You need to sleep. Doug, you need to sleep. So, good night, everybody. Talk to you tomorrow.
You've been listening to Tabletop Arcanum, hosted by Justin Taylor and Richard Geese, and featuring the original music by Paul Moore and Isaac Gilbert. You can follow us on most social media platforms. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave us a review on whatever platform you listen to podcasts. As always, thanks for listening.